Crvena Zvezda, Budućnost and Partizan remain undefeated, while teams from Skopje are still winless after 5 rounds. ABA League champion with Crvena Zvezda is back at it with Budućnost. Meet the magician Marcus Williams. And last but not least, we take a look at the top 5 plays of the 5th round. Welcome to ABA Magazine. Former point guard for Sutjeska Nikola Korać is back in ABA League. Last year he averaged 5 points and 2 assists per game and will try to improve those numbers as a member of Mortar. Karpoš Sokoli reinforced its backcourt by adding Dominik Mavra. Croatian guard started his career in Zagreb and won a championship ring with Cibona back in 2014. He spent the last season in Poland, where he averaged 9 points per game. Ivan Ramljak returns to Zadar following a brief stint with Zagreb. Well known in Krešimir Ćosić Hall, Ramljak signed a contract with his old club until the end of the season. The former Metalac and MZT Skopje point guard Marko Ljubicic is the new member of FNP. 29-year-old averaged 9 points and 4 assists per game last season and arrives as a replacement for Nikola Vukasovic, who was released following a subpar performance in 5 games. Partizan's winning streak remained intact with an overtime buzzer-beater win over Olympia 86-85 in Aleksandar Nikolić Hall. Visitors will have something to regret for, as they held the lead throughout the game, only to suffer their 3rd defeat on the final play this season. It was evident that the coach Gašper Okorn's team didn't come to Belgrade waving a white flag, as it raced to a 7-point lead early on, led by the league's top 3-point shooter Jefferson. Partizan, who struggled with 3-pointers and free throws, was once again jump-started on offense by Will Hatcher. However, the home team's lead never went past the 3-point marker. With the lead constantly changing hands, Nikola Jankovic erupted in the 2nd quarter. Black and white simply couldn't stop Olympia's big man, who gets the credit for the visiting team's 1-point lead at the half. Partizan came out of the locker room fired up in the 3rd quarter, but Olympia answered with an 11-0 run to go up by 8. However, coach Aleksandar Džikic's team managed to bring the game to a dramatic conclusion. Through Ratkovica and Hatcher, Partizan leveled the score in the final minute of the 4th quarter. A bucket from Jefferson gave visitors a 2-point lead, but Đorđe Majstorović tied the game on the final play. He was fouled on the play, but missed the game winner from the foul line. Overtime was equally dramatic as the 4th quarter. In the back-and-forth battle, the decisive moment came with 7 seconds left on the clock, as Vanja Marinković drained a crucial 3-pointer. Jefferson and Oliver couldn't come up with an answer, and the home team grabbed an important win. Will Hatcher was Partizan's leading scorer once more with 20 points. Marinković added 12, Veličković tallied 13, but with poor field goal percentage. Nikola Jankovic had a double-double, 21 points and 12 rebounds for Olympia, but fouled out in the 4th quarter. Jefferson added 18 points with 4 3-pointers. In the final game of the fifth round, the defending champion Crvena Zvezda defeated Krka 67-56 in Leon Štukelj Hall. However, Dejan Radonjić's men didn't exactly jump out of the gate. For the first 4.5 minutes, they had only one field goal. Marko Luković was on fire on the other end of the court and scored 9 points in the first quarter. Crvena Zvezda does know how to finish strong. A lockdown defense and points on fast breaks gave the visiting team a 19-17 lead at the end of the first period. Visitors found their rhythm on offense in the second quarter. Stefan Jovic created opportunities for his teammates, and the Red and Whites raced to a double-digit lead at the halftime. Second half lacked for excitement as both teams struggled on offense in the third quarter, but Crvena Zvezda held on to a 10-point lead without breaking a sweat. Jovic led the still undefeated Crvena Zvezda with 14 points and 7 assists. Gudurić chipped in with 11 points in the team's fifth win of the season. Krka's offense was limited to Marko Luković and Sandi Čebular, as the duo scored 36 of the team's 56 points. Former MZT player finished the game with 24 points, while the former member of Typhoon scored 12. In another dramatic clash of round 5, Budućnost celebrated a 93-92 win over Igokea in Laktaši. With their deadly three-point shooting, visitors held the lead throughout the entire game. They went up by as much as 13, with the scoreboard reading 67-54 at the end of the third quarter. Igokea improved on defense in the final period and pulled off a comeback. With a three-pointer from Robinson and free throws from Šibalić, the home team grabbed an 83-81 lead. Budućnost fired back with threes from Savović and Popović and went up 89-87 in the final minute. Teams exchanged free throws, and with 12 seconds left on the clock, Robinson was fouled on the drive. The and one free throw was good to give Igokea the lead with 7 seconds remaining. However, miscommunication on defense for the home team allowed Reynolds to assist Suad Šehović, who was all alone in the paint. An easy bucket for the fifth victory in as many rounds. Šehović led the winning team with 18 points. Williams and Popović helped out with 13 points apiece, while the youngster Nikolić added 11 points and blocked 7 shots. Robinson was the top scorer for the defeated team with 26 points. Marcus Williams won the ABA League championship ring with Crvena Zvezda in 2015. He left the team after a short spell last season, but now is back in the regional championship with Budućnost from Podgorica. Here is what the charismatic American has to say about his first steps on the basketball court.
Started playing when I was real young, being a fan of Michael Jordan, like everyone in America really, but that's kind of when I first was intrigued by basketball, and it started off just being fun.
Williams studied at the famous University of Connecticut, where he worked with the legendary coach Jim Calhoun.
That was probably the most fun time in my life, actually. I mean, I was 17, 19, and it was just, everything was new. I was away from home, but at the same time, basketball was probably the most fun thing for me.
When did it hit him that the NBA dream was a reality?
Maybe my last year of college. I mean, before then, I never thought about the NBA. The NBA, it never was really like a dream. It was more like if I make it, I make it. I never thought I was that good. But until my junior year, where I started to hear about it a lot.
What was the experience like playing in the best basketball league in the world?
It was great. It was great. I mean, I played with guys like Jason Kidd, Zach Randolph, Mark Gasol, Steven Jackson, a lot of guys who were great professionals, and I learned a lot from those guys.
How did he adapt to life in Europe?
It was at first. I mean, just being from America and just being in Europe, it was tough. It was tough being here alone. But I think once, maybe my second year, is kind of where I just accepted it.
What about the plans for the future?
Personal plans, basketball right now. Basketball and take care of my family. But mostly now, I mean, I'm just focused on this season. I'm focused on this year.
In one of the most anticipated matchups of the round, j.t.d won on the road at Megalex 85-82 to extend the winning streak to 3 games. It also marked the 4th consecutive defeat for the runner-up from the previous season. Both teams missed some players due to injuries. Coach Dejan Milojevic couldn't count on Milenko Veljkovic and Radoslav Spasojevic, while the Croatian champion arrived to Sremska Mitrovica without Rashad James and Marko Arapovic. The game was all about scoring runs in the first and comebacks in the second half. Home team started off red hot and raced to a 10-0 lead, sparked by Rade Zagorac, who led all scorers with 24 points. Set offense wasn't an option for the team from Zagreb in the first half, thanks to the home team's super aggressive defense. But Coach Veljko Mršić knows a thing or two about defense as well. Locking down Megalex, j.t.d managed to get back in the game midway through the first period. Home team finally found a way to dominate again and grabbed a game-high 33-19 lead in the second quarter, following an 8-0 run. Missed free throws would come back to haunt the ABA League's youngest team, as they allowed j.t.d to claw back to a 4-point deficit at the end of the first half. Despite committing as many as 13 turnovers, j.t.d was back in the running as the 3-point shots started falling in. Janan Musa opened up the barrage midway through the third period. Scotty Hobson went off on a tear of his own offensively, scoring 12 of his 23 points in the third. j.t.d got its first lead in the 25th minute and went up by as much as 7 at the start of the fourth quarter. That didn't break the spirits of the home team, as Jovan Novak answered with 2 consecutive 3-pointers. A bucket from Kaba gave them the lead, 82-80. He would later miss an opportunity to increase the lead, and Hobson would counter with a 3 to put j.t.d ahead. Missed free throws gave Mega another shot at the overtime, but it wasn't meant to be for the home team. Hobson had help in Babic, who scored 15 for j.t.d, while Žganec added 2 less, 8 in the final quarter. Besides Zagorac, only double-digit scorers for Megalex were Jaramaz with 16 and Novak with 12 points. Following a heartbreaking record 58-point loss at the hands of j.t.d in the previous round of the ABA League, Zadar received a boost of confidence with 2 wins in the Croatian Championship. It proved vital in an effort to defeat MZT and put a stop on the 3-game losing streak. Zadar lost Mazalin only hours before the game time, down with flu and severe rash, but fortunately the home team was reinforced by its former player Ivan Ramljak, who would play a prominent role in an important triumph. The visiting team felt a sense of urgency after a poor start to the season, but confident after a last-second defeat in the first round of the Euro Cup. However, the long journey back from Lithuania left its mark. Zadar used a lethargic start from MZT to grab a 14-5 lead, prompting coach Jonchevski to call a timeout. The message was received as the visiting team finally put a stop to Zadar's pick and roll, collapsing in the paint and forcing the opponent to take shots from the distance. The home team struggled, draining only 1 out of 11, but MZT couldn't capitalize on it, as their turnovers allowed their rival to keep a 7-point lead at the halftime. MZT would grab its first lead of the game with a minute left in the third, 52-50, but it was short-lived as Vladovic answered with a 3-pointer for Zadar. With an 11-0 run in the fourth quarter, the home team raced to a well-deserved win. Team's second this season, highlighted by 17 points and 9 rebounds from Marinkovic. Ivan Ramljak was indispensable on defense and chipped in with 13 points. A bright spot for MZT was the performance of Jure Lalic, who scored 19 points and added 12 rebounds against his former team. MZT is still winless, but that might change in the next round against Karpo Sokoli, the other winless team representing Macedonia in ABA League. The first game of the 5th round took place in Topolica Bar, where Mortar defeated FNP 82-66. The visiting team took advantage of a number of turnovers by the home team to go up by 6 at the end of the first quarter, with a score at 22-16. But after Momo Jones stepped on the court, things started to look up for Mortar. FNP opened up the second period with a number of turnovers, allowing the home team to take the lead 44-37 at the end of the first half. With the 3-point shots falling in at a steady pace, Georgi Pavicevic's team kept their opponent at a double-digit distance throughout the third quarter. They kept the pace in the final period on their way to their second win in the club's premier ABA League season. No less than 5 players scored in double digits for Mortar. Tay Waller finished the game with 15, Cole Dickerson with 14, Octavius Salis with 12, Jones with 11 and Balša Radunović with 10 points. In the ranks of FMP, who has the exact record of 2 wins and 3 defeats, Filip Čović led the way with 16 points, while Nikola Žižić added 13. Cibona had no trouble overpowering the newcomer Karpoš Sokoli to a tune of 102-79. The outcome was already apparent after the first quarter. The home team scored 30 points and finished the first part of the game with a 16-point lead. Cibona never took the foot off the gas pedal even when coach Damir Mulaomerović decided to rest his best players, Šakić and Žižić, in the final quarter, with the looming first FIBA Champions League game against Tenerife. With 23 points, Željko Šakić led all scorers. Elijah Johnson had a breakout game with 18 points and 6 assists. Labovic's 21 points went to waste as Karpoš Sokoli couldn't avoid their 5th consecutive loss. Most valuable player of the round title goes to Željko Šakić. Cibona's power forward led his team to victory over Karpoš Sokoli with a 23.7 rebounds and 3 assists performance, enough for 30 value index points. For the second consecutive week, player of the round honors go to a member of Cibona, as Ante Žižić claimed the MVP title in the 4th round. We kick off our top 5 plays list in Sremska Mitrovica. A Megalex fast break comes to a thunderous finish as Rade Zagorac assists Alfa Kaba for a powerful slam dunk. We're quickly moving to Bar, where Monar's big man Octavius Salis put his athletic prowess on full display. Heading back to the Pinky Hall, where Scotty Hobson showed his hops in the paint for Cedevita. With a 3-point buzzer beater, Vanja Marinković made sure Partizan would come out a winner in the overtime against Olympia. Top play is all about skill, as Suad Šehović makes a disappearing act on his defender, only to appear for the game-winning layup against Igokea. We wrap up this week's edition of ABBA Magazine, but we will be back in 7 days to review the 6th round, so stay tuned.